Good morning. Hi, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. I'm Reverend Theresa, and I am so happy that you're here with me today. Those in the room, I'm just happy you're here. As you can tell, I said couple weeks now, we've been here at the Sarasota Garden Club preparing to open the doors for everyone to join us, everyone who feels comfortable coming back into community. And that is still the plan right now. But I am going to put little quotation marks around that plan because I'm going to ask you to stay tuned in. Read those emails that we send out. We will definitely tell you for sure in the next few coming days what we think will happen next week. It is Burning Bowl. It's the second Sunday of the year. So of course we want to be together and be able to do that ceremony, that ritual in person. So stay tuned. Today we're celebrating everything. We've been celebrating all month long the multicultural, multi-religious celebrations that are
Theresa,
going on
do you have
around
your
the
mic
world.
turned on?
I hope so.
Okay, let's start again. You don't have to start again.
Yes, I do. Forgive me, my mic wasn't on. This time I had that tech issue. Mine. Thank you so much. I'm going to just start over and say, I'm Theresa Fiebert. You have tuned in to the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast, and I'm happy that you did, and I'm sorry to just have done this for a few minutes. We're here in the Sarasota Garden Club, and our plan is to open the doors next week. It is the it's the first Sunday of the month, second day of the new year, and we want to be together and we want to have the burning bowls ritual, which we historically do, traditionally do, and it's a great time to be in community for that. But I'm going to ask you to stay tuned and make sure that that plan actually happens. So just bear with us, okay? That's what I ask. Today we're celebrating everything. We're celebrating everything. All month long, we've been looking at multicultural, multi-religious ceremonies that has happened and have historically happened in the month of December. And it's been very enriching for me, and I hope it has for you. I love learning this stuff, and I love sharing what I'm learning. But the reason, there's a deep reason, a spiritual reason, because I want us to be able to recognize that this evolution of humanity has a richness in it, and there are things that we do carry forward in our lives today, and there's pieces that we pull from different cultures that enrich our lives, and that's what it's really all about. So we celebrate it all today. And in that allness is really one true message, and that's that there's only one source of all life, that there's only one thing happening, life coming into form, incarnating into form through these vehicles, you and I, each one of us, and everything that has taken form that we see and that we enjoy and that we know. One thing. That's always a message. And we see that in this year, this time here with yesterday being Christmas, as the birth of Jesus, the birthing of, how about the consciousness of oneness? How about the consciousness of oneness? Incarnated in each one of us. We are birthed of love to love. That's his message. Again, one message. That there's something magnificent happening. It happened and it continues to happen, and we cannot escape it. It's happening in, as, and through us. So we want to wake up to that. Wake up to our inseparability, right? From source and from one another. Today specifically, we are looking with our African American brothers and sisters at the celebration of Kwanzaa, which begins today, and another feast day This one, St. Stephen's, that's today. And there's a new observance that just began last year that we're going to talk about in a bit. Join me in prayer if you would. As I set this intention, for not only for myself, but for each one of us, to go deeper into that one source and substance of all life, to connect with reverence to what is true, what is good, what is sacred and holy. And I affirm, not only for myself, but for each one of us, then when we open our eyes, when we move out in the world, we do so with that sense of divinity within ourselves and all that we see. Recognizing there is with a greater appreciation, that divinity in all life, in my life, in your life, in all life. And what I recognize comes from that truth, from that practice, from that commitment, from this intention, is a greater understanding, a greater love, a greater felt connection in life. And from that comes wisdom and beauty and love, deep, deep love. A harmony, a rhythm, a resonance from the one through us all. That's what I know. So it is. So again, thanks so much for being here. Sorry about the little blip in the beginning with my mic. I want you to help me welcome Elaine Silver. You know, Elaine has traveled the world doing this music ministry, and I feel so blessed to have her here amongst us in our community as one of our licensed practitioners and as a member of our board of trustees. Here she is.
Thank you, Theresa. I love this time of year because there's so many holidays to celebrate. I actually have an entire alternative holiday musical concert. I'm going to do some things from that today. Since we are celebrating everything, it's happy everything. So this is a song about the solstice. And it's way, way back. The church was Christianizing the pagan or the earth-based spiritual celebrations. And December 25th lines up with Solus Invicti, the birth of the sun god, also very close to the winter solstice, in a time of celebrating and anticipation of the planting, the growing, and the harvesting, again for next year's long and dark winter. This is called Solstice Magic. We return now to the light on this deep and longest night. The darkness soon is done. I am free when I'm in flight, soaring in the shining light of the rebirth of the sun. Solstice magic, delivering these winter days. We cast a circle and celebrate the ancient ways. Darkness holds the seed for creation to succeed as the cycle turns the wheel. For new growth to be reborn, it must weather calm and storm. Then the garden is revealed. Solstice magic, delivering these winter days. We cast a circle and celebrate the ancient ways. So I have a few haiku poems written Here we are again to celebrate the solstice. Winter has begun. The nights get shorter, the days are getting longer. The wheel keeps turning. I'm hibernating. The short, dark days have arrived, bringing creation. From formless to form, now in the physical world, it's all energy. Older and wiser, as the years seem to fly by, savor each moment. Happy everything. Today is Boxing Day, and the sun, S-O-N, and the sun, S-U-N's, return. Solstice magic, delivering these winter days. We cast a circle and celebrate the ancient ways. And celebrate the ancient ways. And celebrate the ancient ways. I'd like to hand it over now to Angel Peace. Take it away, Angel.
Hello, thank you, Elaine. That was absolutely beautiful. And as I was listening to it and listening to the magic and knowing and honoring that time of going within, that time in that solstice, I made a last-minute decision to change the piece that I'm going to read and share with you. I just feel really called and connected to share this new piece instead. I wrote it a few weeks ago when I was in a time of retreating and going within and finding the balance within the space of honoring our joy and our bliss and our knowingness of all that we are and the beauty and the God and the light that is within us, and that is our truth. But finding that balance of when we go within and when we need to cry and when we need to release, how can we still know our truth and still know our peace and still know that all is well while releasing the tears? This is called There's Beauty in Your Tears. It's okay to cry. There's beauty in your tears. They carry magic and they release your fears. They heal, for they are no longer yours to carry. As they escape and as they run, as they pour, they bring you freedom and so much more. They bring you alignment and power for all that you feel. You allow yourself to heal. There's beauty in your tears. They carry your strength and your vulnerability. They feel like they fall, but my darling, they fly. They carry you, your knowing and your why. They carry your truth and your understanding. For they are your greatest form of release. So close your eyes and breathe. For they are not a sign that something is wrong, but a knowing that all is right all along. Let them carry you, for there is beauty in your tears, but do not give your power over to them. Release your fears. Allow them to flow. Allow and know. Express. Dream and pursue. Never give up, because tears, they welcome you to new beginnings, to things you never knew. They welcome you in all your glory and all that you came here to be. So release them and let yourself be free. Let them cleanse you. You know what you came here to do. So feel, know what's real, be brave and have faith. Live boldly every day. Be in gratitude for all that you have every single day, the good and the bad. For there is no right, and you cannot get this wrong. With God by your side, you move right along. Keep love in your heart for all that you do, and be grateful for that love that is you. For you are precious, and you are divine, you are God, and you are mine. You are the life, and you are the call. You are not the facade of it all. You hold the power and the grace in all that you believe. Have faith and hand it over to me. You are not alone, and you are never meant to be. So love yourself as you love me. You are safe, you are protected, and you are loved. It's time to know that you are enough. Every breath you take and everywhere you go, your truth is always known. Blessed is your gift to me and to this world, so be bold. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Live boldly and be free. Love you and love me. You are the blessing, so blessed be. My darling, you are free. And the knowing of our light and our oneness and our connection to it all. I thank you, I love you, and I send this back to Elaine.
Hello again. Beautiful, Angel. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So this is a Christmas song, and it's a very special song to me because for many years in the summer and then during the winter holiday, I did concerts at a place in Monroe, New York called Ashram. And they had me come for Christmas Eve and do this concert, this alternative holiday music concert. And there's a man, he went by Hanuman, he had a big white beard. So anyway, to wake up on Christmas morning for like at least 10 years was so magnificent. To see all these yogis there, and everybody got a present in the main house. They had a huge Christmas tree with billions of presents under it, and everybody got one, and there was a big feast, and it was just so powerful. So that guy Hanuman turned me on to this song, and it's called Christmas in the Ashram. From the west to the east, they left their homes in search of peace. A transcendental mystic yogi took them in. He was kind and holy. California to Bombay, they traveled far to sing and pray. But on the last week of the year, their songs became a little weird. We're in that week now, singing Om Hallelujah, Hare Hare Krishna, in excelsis Deo, Ram Bolo, Gloria, Gloria, Govinda Gopala, Om Noel Jai Shri Ram, Christmas in the Ashram. The Guru must be out of town. There's tinsel in Vishnu's crown. Someone hung a Christmas star from one of Shiva's extra arms. There's eggnog in the black spiced tea, lotus petals on evergreen, incense burners green and red, Santa house on shaven head, singing Om Hallelujah, Hare Hare Krishna, in excelsis Deo, Ram Bolo, Ram Bolo, Gloria, Gloria, Govinda Gopala, Om Noel Jai Shri Ram, Christmas in the Ashram. get a little bit confused. Singing Om Hallelujah, Hare Hare Krishna, CSLCC's Deo, Rama Bolo, Gloria, Gloria, Govinda Gopala, Om Noel, Jai Shri Ram, Christmas in the Ashram. Om Noel, Jai Shri Ram, Christmas in the ashram. Happy everything.
Oh my goodness. Elaine, I just, always so beautiful. Just always so beautiful, so creative. I never know. Never know with you. I love that. I love the diversity of what you've already brought to us this morning. And thank you, Angel, too. It's so great to see you. So, you know, we did Solstice last week with Santa Claus, too, and but Christmas at the ashram, no, we had not done that. So that is beautiful. It is happy everything here today. It is happy everything. As I said last week, or probably all month long, there's so many ways to celebrate. There's so many ways to honor this thing called life, and that's what we're looking at this month. We're looking at those ways and seeing what fills us in the meantime, you know. But again, as I already alluded to in my opening, there's really only one message. There's only one message, really. And it's what Richard Rohr, Father Richard Rohr, says is unity, or union, I think is the word that he used this week in his writings. You know, that's what we're looking at, this oneness. He said, what we're really doing is healing the separate self. This concept, this idea that we're separate, that we can be separate from God, from one another, from our true self, our true nature, is really an impossibility. And this is the way Ernest Holmes said it in 1962 in the Science of Mind magazine in December. He said, to carry peace, love, and givingness to everyone, that's the meaning of Christmas. That's the meaning of Christmas. To feel that we are all part of the divine offering. I love that. We're all part of the divine offering, and to enter into the spirit of the birth of Christ in the human mind and heart. So I think that's really what I've been attempting to do with us this month is have a birthing within us, an opening within our heart and minds, a new awareness maybe that of our validity, of our importance, of our divinity, of our value, each one of us, each one of us. So today, we've got a few more things to look at. As we wrap up this month, we're going to look at St. Stephen's Day, which is also called Wren Day in some parts of the world. And it's also the same day as Boxing Day. We're going to look at that. Kwanzaa begins today. And then there's something new that started last year on the 26th. It's tomorrow, the 27th. And it's called International Day of Epidemic Preparedness. Not a real sexy name, is it? But International Day of Epidemic Preparedness. And this came out of the UN. The UN saw a need for local and national and global communities to have systems in place. You know why. It's obvious, right? But there's systems for prevention, for preparedness, and partnership. For us to recognize our interrelatedness. You know, and Bobby and I were talking about this, and he brought up the traffic circles that we're all trying to get used to, which they're very common in the UK and other parts of the world. But just like we have traffic rules, everybody here knows when you see a red light what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to stop. And when you see a green light, then it's okay to go. And it's universally known, those things, right? Understood. So don't you see the importance of having a universally understood thing around the pandemic? We're all learning. It's new for all of us, but the transmission of viruses is a real thing. And it is important for us to have an understanding so we ourselves can remain safe and so that we can keep other people safe as well. Let's go back to what I said just a moment ago. There's only one thing happening. There's really only one of us here, right? The divine has come into form. And I think if this damn virus hasn't taught us anything, it's taught us that. It's taught us how interrelated we are, how what we do matters, how we affect one another. And it shows us the need for us to come together in that oneness understanding, in that understanding of our shared humanity, at the very least, right? At the very least. I don't believe it's fake news. I know people that have died. I know people that are sick. And I know families that are suffering because of all that. And so I do feel that it's important for all of us to do our part, whatever that is, whatever we can do. Unless you live on an island, but, even if you lived on an island, are you safe? Because I don't know, climate change, water rising, we're affecting each other in ways that we probably haven't even begun to know. In ways we haven't even begun to know. So the UN and I really want everyone to know that what you do matters. And I take it from a spiritual perspective. What we do matters. What we think matters. What we say, what we do. It all matters. So here's somebody who knew that what he did matters. St. Stephen. He knew that what he did matters. Today is his feast day. In the East, it's actually on the 27th, and it's called the third day of the Nativity. May not be called that now. It may be St. Stephen's Day all over the world, his feast day. But it is celebrated in some 20 different countries. Countries that are predominantly Catholic in religion, they still observe St. Stephen's Day as a national holiday, even. And it's predominantly for his service of giving to the poor, giving alms to the poor. And we heard a little bit about that last week when we were talking about St. Nicholas, right? Very interesting parallels in so many of these stories I've been sharing this month. So in Italy, the holiday still today is to care for those who are less fortunate, to give to those. And, we heard last week the possibilities of the roots of that being in ancient Rome, right? So isn't it interesting, this thread that is running through all of this? I find it fascinating. So St. Stephen's was a Greek Jew, and he began teaching the gospel. And he had a real gift for speech and debate, and so he was getting a lot of attention. I think of this as not unlike Ken Wilber, which I talked about in the second Sunday of this month. He's a current prophet, maybe. He's a current teacher who's showing us this thread of truth that runs through religion, like Ernest Holmes did, and talks about how we take it forward. Some of it we take forward with us as we develop into the next thing, the next stage of religious religious being, I'm going to leave it at that, or spirituality. So Stephen was pointing out to the authorities, the Jewish authorities, that what Moses had taught happened. Jesus was born. And this was prophesied by Moses. And what happened? The Jews killed him. And he was speaking to that. And so you could see that was seen as blasphemy, and he was stoned to death sometime around 33 to 36 AD. So not long after Jesus, right? But he's known as the first Christian martyr, and his passionate speech is said to be the words that you'll find in the book of Acts. So, Rende, it is said that before he was found by his captors and subsequently put to death, he was in hiding. And he was betrayed not by a friend or a disciple, but by a chirping wren, W-R-E-N, a bird, a chirping bird, gave him away. And in Ireland, they still will celebrate the Day of the Wren, which I think is pronounced Ran. And the old way of celebrating that, the old ritual, was for they killed a bird, they killed a wren, and children went door to door and took it door to door asking for money in exchange for the wren's feathers because they were said to be magic. Thank goodness they don't do that anymore. They will put a real wren in a cage and take it around, or a stuffed wren, a fake wren, on a stick and take it around. But they still often go door to door asking for money for school projects and those kinds of things. And many people in many countries still go door to door visiting with family and friends on Wren Day. So that was an interesting thing to read about. And all of that could still be a possible route, a possible lineage for what is known as Boxing Day. And Boxing Day is celebrated in the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. And originally, again, it was about giving to the poor, like St. Stephen's did, like St. Nicholas did. And the custom, this Boxing Day custom, really began around 1663 with wealthy people giving gifts to their household servants. This was in a thank you for your service all year long, but they had also served the family on Christmas Day. So then they prepared a box of sometimes leftover food and gifts and often money too, bonuses for them to take home, and they'd get the day off. History Channel said that lasted until the late 20th century. Then the tradition kind of morphed into employers giving workers and vendors a cash bonus, the day off, that kind of thing on Boxing Day. And really the modern version, though, today is, do you know what it is? Shopping. Shopping the deals. I saw a picture this morning. It's Boxing Day in the UK. I love my friends from the UK. And it showed people in the malls. So there you go. Which kind of brings me to the next one, Kwanzaa. Because in part, Kwanzaa was kind of a retaliation to the commercialism of Christmas. And it begins today and lasts through January 1st. It's a 7-day cultural celebration. This one's not a religious celebration, it's a cultural celebration. And Dr. Malana Karinga, hopefully I said that right, in 1966 came up with this idea. He was a professor, still is, he's still living, professor and chairman of Black Studies at California State University, and he was deeply, deeply troubled by the 6-day rioting, the Watts riots of 1965, that were happening right there in his hometown in LA. Extreme racial violence, extreme time, 34 deaths, 1,032 injured, and over 4,000 arrests made. So this was his attempt to bring harmony back into his community, and it was a designed celebration focused on traditional African values for American Africans to be able to come together to heal and to prosper, and which is beautiful. So again, it was also taken away the focus on the commercialism of Christmas. And so the celebration includes a candle holder called a kinara with 7 candles representing 7 principles that are focused upon one each day of the week. And the colors of the African liberation countries are represented: 3 red candles, 1 black candle, and 3 green candles. Now that central candle is the black candle, and it is representing the principle of unity. Isn't that interesting? Right? Isn't that interesting? The rest of the candles, self-determination, speaking with authority from your true self, knowing, discovering who your true self is, and then showing up that way. Self-determination. Collective work, love that one too. To make your brothers and your sisters' problems your own problems and work together to find a way to solve those. Isn't that beautiful? So self-determination, collective work, responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. Beautiful, right? Just beautiful. And so this is a newer holiday, really, considering all the ones that I've talked about this month in the United States. And the height of popularity was in the 80s and the 90s and then began to wane. But there still are people celebrating in the United States, African Americans in the United States, an estimated 6 to 12.5 million people. So it's something for all of us to know about, something for white folks to know about, isn't it? So I mentioned this a few weeks ago also. Thich Nhat Hanh is the spiritual hero of the year for the Centers for Spiritual Living. His face and an article about him was, his picture is on the front of the magazine this month, and there's a nice article in the magazine about him. But he, in response to hearing a colleague at a convention one time talk about the beauties of several religious traditions being like fruit salad, he heard this and his response was, "Fruit salad can be delicious, and I don't see any reason to spend one's whole life tasting just one kind of fruit." He said, "We human beings can be nourished by the best values of many traditions." Yeah, that's it. That's what we want to know. We can be nourished by the best values of many traditions. And he's not advocating that we abandon our histories or our traditions or our spiritual heritage. He's suggesting, though, that we learn from others, from different religious traditions, to enhance our own spiritual journey is what I'm going to throw in there, because I know that it can, it does, it has for me this month. It's been my attempt that we, in our learning, that we're enriched. We're enriched by new ideas and new customs and spiritual practices and different philosophies from our own even, so that we can come to really appreciate our diversity, that beauty, that multiplicity of the divine, right? The one into many, into our different traditions and our beliefs. It's so fabulous. And then we find what works for us. What, as Thich Nhat Hanh said, what nourishes us. I hope you've been nourished this month. I want to share something with you that I read that Father Richard Rohr wrote. I just adore this man. an author of many books, many, many books. And I get his daily blogs, and he wrote this about Christmas. He said, the way we've shaped Christianity, one would think that it was all about being nice and middle class and normal and under the law. But he said in the Gospels, Mary, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph were none of those things. So they might be telling us that we should be looking elsewhere for status and dignity. Maybe the reason that our knowledge of God is so limited is because we've been looking for God in the places that we consider nice and pretty. Instead, God chooses the ordinary and the messy. Yeah. Dorothy Day, who is the founder of the Catholic Worker. The Catholic Worker is a community of communities. It is a community of communities focused on nonviolence and living in accord with justice and charity, as Jesus taught. She said it's not easy for us to look for God in the ordinary. But, she said, quote, if Mary had appeared in Bethlehem clothed, as St. John says, with the sun and a crown of 12 stars on her head, and the moon at her feet, as it is said in Revelations, then people would have fought to make room for her. But that's not how the story goes, is it? No. Dorothy Day goes on to say that divinity, that spark, that thing, that spiritual thing, that essence, that soul, is, quote, disguised under every type of humanity that treads the earth. That's what I want us to hear. And so Father Richard Rohr goes back and he says, what this feast tells us is that reality, at its deepest foundation, is good, even very good. That the divine is hidden quietly within the human. The holy is hidden in the physical and the material. Therefore, we have every reason to live in hope, trust, and confidence. I love that. I love that. And it seems to me that as we enhance our own understanding, our own spiritual awareness of the sacredness of all life, when we come to a place where we are consistently expanding our heart and our minds to collective wisdom, to that which has come from our ancient forefathers, our ancestors, to that of cultural diversity, we will find insights for healing, insights for healing ourselves and our communities, insights for healing this pandemic, how to care for ourselves and one another in that awareness of oneness, that we find healing wisdom for poverty and hunger, for racism and equal opportunity for everyone, equal opportunity in education, in work, in pay, in housing, in health. We will find the collective wisdom to end war and environmental dangers. Finally, Richard Rohr so brilliantly says, that splitness and separation that we feel when we're not in that place of sacredness, I'm throwing that, those are my words, when we're not in that place, he said it's the sadness of the human race. Thank you, Angel, for your piece on tears. When we are in that place of separation, it is the sadness of the human race. When we feel separate, when we feel disconnected, when we feel split from ourselves, from our family, from reality, from earth, from God, we will be angry and depressed people because we know we weren't created for that separation. We were created for union. Created, as Ernest Holmes said, to be part of the divine offering. You are an offering to this thing called life, inseparable from it. So I invite you to ask yourself right now, take a breath, take a pause. Where in my life do I feel separate? Where do I feel separate? Where do I feel disconnected? From whom am I disconnected? And in the spirit of St. Stephen's and Kwanzaa's central flame of unity, in the birth and the awakening of our very own Christ consciousness, let us affirm, yes, our union with the one source of all life, expressing itself divinely, beautifully, interestingly, uniquely as each one of us. There's beauty in that. There's wisdom in that. There's divinity in that. And so I know, I affirm now that that wisdom leads each one of us forward in our lives in such a beautiful way that we feel that rhythm and harmony wherever we go. And we meet it in exchange. And thus the world does work for everyone, all the time, in every circumstance. This I know to be true. And so let it be. So it is. Yeah. Let's go back to Elaine.
Well, I learned about Kwanzaa and I learned about the holiday that starts tomorrow for the pandemic. So I had a choice of 3 songs to do now. I just wanted to see how it would flow, and this is the one that I wrote it sometime this year, but I think it goes well with Kwanzaa and the pandemic holiday. It's called I Light the Candles. I light the candles, I light the candles for wisdom, unity, and peace. We light the candles, we light the candles. Darkness has been released. I light the candles, I light the candles for wisdom, unity, and peace. We light the candles, we light the candles. Darkness has been released. Now is the time to make the changes. Now is the time to shine. We are never going back to those dark ages. Standing in the truth, we are alive. I light the candles, I light the candles for wisdom, peace, and unity. We light the candles, we light the candles in oneness with community. I light the candles, I light the candles for wisdom, peace, and unity. We light the candles, we light the candles in oneness with community. Now is the time to see one another. Look into their eyes, we see our own. Moving as the light, transforming darkness, uncovering the truth we've always known. I light the candles, I light the candles. Wisdom, unity, and peace. We light the candles,
Oh, Elaine, thank you. I can't even get over how perfect that song was for this. Just absolutely perfect. One mind. You know, we are connected. We are connected to one another. Was just so beautiful, so beautiful. I'm going to ask, as I did a couple weeks ago when I did the offering, Rev G's wasn't able to be with us this morning, that if this message resonates with you, and if it seems like that we do need to heighten our awareness of our brothers and sisters and our own ancestry and come to an understanding of where we operate from, and if we need to tweak it, we tweak it. If that's something that seems right to you in the world, I ask that you generously support this ministry. Because I believe that it is a teaching, it is a path that can change the world. When we really can look upon each other and all life as divine, our earth that we walk upon, when we recognize all life in its divinity and its sacredness, I believe war would end. I mean, why would we hurt one another? And so call me Pollyanna. I don't mind. And I would call you the same if you want to join me in this. I believe we've got great work to do. But it does take financial support. And it takes your time and talent. I want to thank again the people that are here this morning that have helped make this possible. So thank you as you share your gifts with us. And Evan is posting how you can do that. There's different ways. You can send a check in the old way, snail mail, or use one of the electronic ways. And we do appreciate it so much. Bobby, let's sing.
I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on. Once more. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on.
Thank you. I want to just remind you that we do pass the good along. I've talked about this a little bit recently, but we are a tithing community. We give 10% back out into the community, and we do good work with that. I'm excited, and if you have ideas you want to share around where our giving would do good here locally, the board is always interested in hearing that, so thank you. I have just a few announcements, and these are important announcements. As I said in my opening, next Sunday would be January 2nd. The plan is to be in this room, open the doors to those of you that want to be here in person, and us still be broadcasting online, and to do a burning bowl ceremony. So the burning bowl ceremony will be outside as it was two years ago. And if you're at home, as I did last year, I'll guide you through doing it at home. So this will be our first hybrid ritual. How about that? And Ann Williams will be here with us doing her crystal bowls, with Bobby doing guitar, and we will have a beautiful sacred space. We'll have the doors open, and of course the burning bowl outside. Now that is the plan. And I've talked about the time changing. And I really haven't gotten much feedback from you all, whether we want to change our 11 o'clock start time to 10:30 or not. So the board will meet sometime this week, and that plan is going to be finalized. But I'm not the board, so I will be meeting with the board, but you need to be paying attention, and I'm sorry that I can't be any more clear than that. So you need to read the emails. We will get the message out to you one way or another. And to get those emails, again, you need to be on our email list, obviously. And you can do that at our website, www.cslculturalcoast.org, or you can do it on Facebook. There's a place there to sign up. There will not be a social hour again today because I just have not been able to figure out how we're going to do that too when we're here in this room, and I'm helping to set up and clean up and all of that. But I love you, and I so appreciate you being here with us, and and prayer support. So if you're in need of prayer support, please email prayer@cslculturalcoast.org. And we got a fabulous group of prayers, our practitioners who will know the highest and best for you always. And I'm going to turn it over to Elaine.
Okay, during the season of light, I want to end with a song called Love and Light to You. And love and light are also other words, other names for God or Spirit, Source. And your part is, if you want to sing along, it's just love and light to you. Love and light to you happens at least 6 times in each verse and chorus. Life is happening in the moment. Love and light to you. Know that all is as it should be. Love and light to you. Love and light to you. This is your part. Love and light is true. Love and light to you. Happy everything. Love and light to you. Now I enter into stillness. Love and light to you. From the center comes the goodness. Love and light to you. Love and light to you. Love and light is true. Love and light to you. Happy solstice. Love and light to you. See all of creation move in transformation. Love and light is true. Love and light to you. Feel the inspiration. Move into co-creation. This insight is true. Love and light to you. It's about the journey, not the destination. Love and light to you. It's about the joy and the celebration.